people! Today I'm going to talk about my favorite type of art book. I haven't talked about art books in a long time, and it's something I hope to do somewhat more on this channel. So before I started studying art history at the university level, there were a number of types of art books that I did not know existed. With the way things have been moving, a lot of research can be done with electronic sources or the internet, things like JSTOR or academic journals that have been moved online. So much of it's going online that I almost have like a heightened sense of appreciation for these tools that are powerful and left in book form, if that makes sense. Prior to starting a formal study of art history, I had never heard of this type of book. When I first encountered them, they were just magnificent. They are such cool tools and also just really exciting to look at. That is a Catalogue Raisonnés. Every time I type this word into Microsoft, it tries to autocorrect it to raisin, and that is false. A Catalogue Raisonnés is a catalog of all of the known works of art made by a particular artist. So for example, I have Eva Hesse's Catalogue Raisonnés right now because she's one of my favorite artists, and I learned we have this in our library. Not every artist has their own Catalogue Raisonnés. It's really exciting when an artist does because it's kind of like a mark of their clout in the field, if you will. They are important enough to have one of these books. That's not to say that artists that do not have Catalogue Raisonnés yet are not that important. There are organizations of scholars who devote themselves to finding artists who need these books done for them and producing them. And it's kind of one of my pipe dreams as an art historian to be on one of those teams. The first Catalogue Raisonnés I ever used for a really big summer research project 2 years ago on Lee Krasner, the artist that was married to Jackson Pollock. That was the first time I really discovered that these books are, one, very cool, and two, very useful resources. So what they are, like I said, are a collection of every artist's known work. For artists that have really varied types of work, there might be different volumes. If there's a ton of work, there'll be different volumes. The idea is that to help us in the continued understanding of an artist, scholars spend years scouring the world for every single last thing that artist has ever made. That includes doodles on napkins to like great works of art that are in museums. And then they collect them in books, and you can go piece by piece and learn all sorts of really valuable information about that piece. This is a good example because Eva Hesse did a ton of work. She did painting and drawing, but then also what she's most known for are her sculptures. So this book is the first volume. It is by Renee Petzinger, Barry Rosen, and Annette Spohn. Eva Hesse was also German, so this is done in both languages, which is pretty neat. Actually, I'm just going to read you this little blurb because this explains what this book is and the series it's a part of, and also like the whole point of these tools. Okay, the author's right. We have attempted to publish in these volumes all the known works of Eva Hesse, in hopes of making a neutral statement and therefore a more useful tool for scholars. We have included, on equal footing with better-known works, Hesse's early paintings in the volume on her paintings, and in Volume 2, her so-called test pieces. Volumes 3 and 4 on her drawings will include Hesse's student works and notebook sketches. So, like, if that helps kind of clarify like the types of things in these books and why they're so cool. It's like finding all these lost or little known pieces and arranging them for any old person like me to go and look at in the library. It's pretty dope. So, things that will be included. If you're a geek like me, this is exciting. Just off the top of my head, there will be a provenance, which is the document that lists the history of ownership. And if you've got a good provenance, you know it's probably never been like stolen and forged because you know who's had it at all times. There's a whole bunch of books out there on famous provenance scandals that I'm actually hoping to read this summer and will definitely review for you. But the provenance will be included. This book, I think this is really neat, includes the lot number if it's ever been sold at auction at like Sotheby's or Christie's or something, so you can see that. You can see all the potential titles that's ever been assigned by anyone, etc. Let's find a good example. There is an artwork and then a list of info on the opposite page. It tells us the title of this work in both languages, which is no title. So if you want to know how to say no title in German, you can learn that in this book. And then it gives basic information like the media, its oil on canvas, its dimensions. I got interrupted, so I'm back a few days later, and hopefully I won't repeat myself. So this is definitely the wrong grade book. This is the right. The reason that I love these books so much is that they are such a complete record of art history. They are, in a sense, a type of finding aid. So for example, when I was using Lee Krasner's Catalogue Raisonnés, it was because I was planning a research trip to go see some works in person, and with this book you can look at each painting, see if it fits your research needs, or you just want to research or maybe just go see that one for fun, and that way you know a lot of kind of interesting info about its history as well as where to find it. Additionally, for art geeks like myself, well, the pictures are like totally worth it enough, especially since these are such complete records of what these artists are making. A lot of these pieces you can't see in museums or elsewhere. To continue my love for the Catalogue Raisonnés as a book/research tool, there's always some other extra information in them that make them really handy for familiarizing yourself with that artist. Typically, there's a very in-depth biographical timeline. There we go. So Eva Hesse's starts with her birth in 1936, and it takes up quite a good chunk of the back of the book. There's also usually a bibliography, which, whoop whoop, is something that is so wonderful when you are trying to do art historical research. Back here there's like a huge bibliography, so that means that not only does this book list every artwork and where it is, it lists every book, article, catalog, etc. that has been written about Eva and her artwork. So that is amazing. That'll save you so much footwork when you're beginning a big research project. Usually also there's an essay or two in the front of the book by the leading scholars that have compiled the work, and those can have some really worthwhile things in them to read. These are books that are incredible to read cover to cover because you're essentially giving yourself a chronological history of that artist's work. All that to say, these are not books with written storylines per se that you might want to curl up and read by a fire unless you are a big art history geek, but they present a complete story of an artist's life through the detailed documentation of their work. Within that, you also get the complete life of the artwork because you see when it was made and where, what the artist named it, and then what type of life it had after leaving her or his studio. Again, this might be a type of book and type of video that really is only interesting to me. I try to find these books and look at them when I can for artists that I like just because they're like very, very useful. This is something that I find a lot easier to use for that footwork than the internet because there's not often a reliable compiled list of all the resources, all the mentions, all the homes of these pieces online. So there you got it, folks. If you need something new to look at, find yourself a Catalogue Raisonné at a research library near you. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you're getting a little bit excited about art books, and I'll look forward to talking to you about different types of art books soon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the flippity flip.